doing out there, guys? This is Harper. I come to talk to you again, and I want to share something with you very important about reparations and the descendants of slavery. I'm a descendant of slavery on both sides of my family, and the new voice of the black media, and how what's going on with the infusion of conversation and what they're trying to do as a narrative with our own people against the talking points which have created this conversation. And that's ADOS, the new voice of the black media and Foundation of Black Americans. There's a reason for this conversation. But what I want to tell you, first and foremost, reparations is not the transfer of money from white folks to black folks. It is a government issue of something that has happened inhumane and to be repaired. It's a government incentive. It's political. It's a political incentive. It's an inherent, something that belongs to a group of people or to persons that have not been given. And it's to repair them in terms of suffering from those choices. And it was an inhumane crisis. Matter of fact, the inhumane institution that promoted the idea of wealth. And the people that suffer never reciprocated the loyalty that it offers in terms of opportunity as a community sport. That's what reparations is. Reparations is to repair that which has been done, governmental, society, democracy wise. Has nothing to do with money being transferred from white folks to black folks. That's not what reparations is. Reparations is to repair that which has been done in humane action in terms of a unit of a society, a political failure, a political heinous exchange of a power source. Okay, so that's what this is. That's what this is, and a lot of people don't understand what that is. And we'll tell you what it is. Now, the conversation that they're having now in the mainstream media about reparations, it does not infuse the new voices of black media. They don't want us to talk about it because we're going to go straight to the punch and we're going to go straight to the source about this conversation. We're not going to be playing with words and talking about reparations, just get some better or take care of the black colleges and, and do some kind of affirmative action thing. That trick is over it. We over that. You don't do that to a piece of people's personal lives, and you don't get people that's over skilled and over class to talk for people that's in a lower skill community or lower class community, middle class and lower middle class. So we don't need Danny Glover standing up as a rich man to tell us we don't need an actual check. We don't need people saying, it's very dangerous what they're doing because black people in this country are being bought and sold. Now, that's no protection there, governmental. You got black people that's been bought and sold. And as a matter of fact, they're harming themselves. But they think they're safe, but they're not. And you can get on the phone, Danny Glover, and you can call Bill Cosby and ask him that. Because Harvey Weinstein is on house arrest. And the rest of them, and Ed Book and all that. You can call Trayvon Martin's family and Philando Castile and all those people and ask them about how they feel about being from a bottom caste in terms of their sufferings. You can do that. As a matter of fact, you can get in my family because the police shot and killed a very close friend of my family that was in my cousin's house, and my cousin was there. And it was wrong. Very wrong. He was not treated like a citizen. He was treated like a wild animal because he had mental issues. And there's lawsuits going on that right now. There's more than 5 to 6 lawsuits. He had 4 children. And he was 37 years old. And they shot and killed and then traumatized my own cousin. And bullet holes all through the house because this man had a mental health issue and they had the power. They were surrounding him in many numbers, and all they had to do was arrest him and make sure he get to the hospital, but they took his life, and there was a black police chief involved. Let me tell you something. I live this ADOS life. I know what goes on, and my cousin is the mayor over the situation. and the chief of police is a black man, and he's basically running around making a mess out of everything, hollering in the press, and he has no jurisdiction to be, he has no power to be speaking to the press in the city's favor unless there's a disaster, and he got checked by the mayor. But see, there's a lot of stuff going on in the community, whereas though black people now have um, been denouncing their own selves in order to entertain a power source, because we haven't had the element of choice outside of that. We're choosing things against our own people because that's keeping us safe personally, and that's not safe for us. So we're going against our own people to be safe in terms of political and exchange and social exchange and economically. So we have to do that. And unfortunately, I won't be doing that. Well, good thing I won't be doing, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people doing that, but I won't be doing it. The New Voices of Black Media won't be doing that. We understand that you tell us it's not about money. Everything's not about a check. Everything's not about money. You tell us that, but you go and tell other groups that. You tell the Jews everything ain't about money. You go and tell white supremacy everything ain't about money. So they won't be able to put their children in the best schools. They won't be able to pay and catapult, and they won't be able to have good health insurance because they have money. Money, no, everything's not about money, but money has its place, and it has a very powerful place. It's in one of the highest ranks there is in terms of a social existence. So don't you tell me money ain't everything. I'm not stupid. So money, it might not be everything. The reason I can say money ain't everything is because you cannot buy this conversation. You can't buy your parents. You can't buy your family members. I can't buy myself white. I can't buy myself out of my group. Regardless if I had Bill Cosby money, he couldn't do it. So no, money ain't everything, is it now? It's not everything, is it now? Mm. But you're holding on to it, and it doesn't belong to you. My inheritance is not yours. That's mine. Reparations is mine. You giving it to everybody else, and you're gonna give it to me and my family. You tell me money ain't everything. No, it's not everything as long as you don't have to worry about it. But when you start worrying about it, whether you have a personal incentives so you can correct yourself and be made whole and choose and have the better element of choice. When your people start committing private crimes toward each other because they're locked in a situation and they don't have the element of choice, you'll realize how offensive it is to tell a group of people money ain't everything. No, it's not everything because you don't have to worry about it. You already got some money, so you don't have to worry about that. We can do better in our communities and have different kind of access with our inheritance. We will have better thinking. We won't have so much stress. We can eat better. We can choose better doctors. We can buy better stuff and breathe and think better and relax. But you tell us it ain't everything, so we need to go somewhere like and get affirmative actions and go to college and have a better chance of that. No, reparations take care of that too. But it's also cutting a check. So you take some of that money and you cut the check with it, and you take the other bit and you put things in effect in terms of first class citizenship and protect us and protect our laws and our business camaraderie. Because a lot of black people that are rich are more likely to lose their money because they're not protected politically. That's what reparations will do. And Danny Glover didn't say that, but he also knows about it. You're talking to a person, Danny Glover gets up and say, we don't basically need a check, and he's a rich man. Well, who bought and paid for him? Do they have insurance on you, Danny Glover? They probably do, because you're an item. You're a shiny object that's being used to try to detour and railroad the concerns of your own people in the lower class of communities, and that's in the masses of you. When you look at the economic baseboard and you look at the federal government website, you will see the group that Danny Glover comes from is poor and has accrued a huge disadvantage. He's one of the 1% that's in the group that's able to access some type of comfortability due to his expertise. and that's acting. And that's exactly what he was doing inside that hall and inside that meeting, talking about reparations. He was acting, and he's been bought and paid for. And that's his job, unfortunately, to stand up and push a narrative. And that's what all of them are doing. And that's very dangerous. But we will not be allowing that, just to let you know. You can continue if you want to. But we're going to keep the conversation open. And somebody's going to be very embarrassed pretty soon about our prestige and who we are and how precise we are about this conversation. You don't tell me that you're not going to cut a check when you owe me something. That's like somebody going to work or a lawyer looking over my inheritance and they tell me, well, you don't need a check. We'll just give it to you and we'll give you a better insurance. We'll give it to you like in some type of different way. You don't, the money's not everything. Who does that? That doesn't even sound right. It sounds like a fool, but you got black people doing it because they are protected. They have a personal endeavor, which they're not. No, sorry, they're really not protected. But when it comes down to it, they're not even protected themselves. So this is what happened to the people who you can exploit. They have also been exploited because this is what you've created in terms of race. You've created a situation where people that come from a bottom caste with a crude disadvantage who've been abused politically, who entertain the society of a first world, of a rich nation, they are denouncing themselves in their own community to stay safe, to do good. And people are losing their lives in terms of that. That's why I brought up the police situations. We don't really have a chance to exchange with each other with importance because we have a people that have an iota against who we are as free people. They don't want us to be free. We were never supposed to be free. We were all supposed to be slaves. So the actual slavery that they're talking about, there's no slaves alive today. The slaves that were set free and everything, we're the descendants, which they were set free from a physical form of slavery, but we're still enslaved politically and economically, socially, due to the fact that we were never given the incentive that had us enslaved, and that is wealth. And that's the protection of our laws, first-class citizenship. So we're not working in the fields getting beat, used for bed bugs, and getting hung on trees. We're systematically under the belt. We're systematically in a servitude, subservience, because we don't have the access to the things that were supposed to be given to us or that belong to us solely through our tax dollars, and we patronize a society other people benefit from in that fashion, in that form. Slavery was for wealth, and the United States government sanctioned slavery. Slavery was a institution that was to make a nation, to give the nation the incentive of wealth, and it executed. And we are the descendants of that, which we have not reciprocated any type of loyalty politically. That's what this conversation is about. And you will not be changing that narrative. That's the only reason it gained traction, is because we was talking seriously about it in the real way. So we don't need black folks standing up talking about, well, reparations need to be expanded, using the word expanded, but you're actually diluting it and trying to take it away from us and tell us we don't need it by giving us little incentives. Well, why don't we put money into black colleges? What are you talking about? So when we go to black colleges and learn how to be expert at something, we're going out with no capital, no personal access to clean up our lives and to have a better sense of camaraderie, sense of social ability. And we going out promoting other people and working for their empires, even with education. That's exactly what you're doing when you say, "Oh, well, we'll just give them a better education." So we don't. So therefore, take a little load off of them. Don't let them pay tuitions back, but don't give them anything. That's what that is. No, reparations is going to also do that, and it also is going to protect us and cut us a check. When you owe people, you pay them. You give them what they're worth. You give them, every man is to be paid for his wages. And we are the descendants of people that brutally suffered inhumane, terrible, disgusting. We are the descendants of people who were left, who were done wrong. We were left in dire situation in terms of business and resources throughout the Constitution not being upheld in our favor as first class citizenship and 40 acres and a mule. That left us with no power to exchange in business and community endeavor in terms of resources. That's what this is. So we were left in this shape, and now we're subservitude of a society that we build to blood sacrifice. This is the land of our captivity. You can't run from this. And black people that are standing up talking about this and trying to confuse us about what reparations really is very disparaging that you would do something like that. You're not women and men. You're items. This is Harper. Thank you for joining me.